Here we go. Hi, I'm going to go over these notes on parts of a right triangle. So this is for after our test. We're going to go over Pythagorean theorem, parts of a right triangle, and then proving if triangles are right, which is the converse of the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to talk about that. Go ahead and start. So parts of a right triangle, this is like the anatomy of it. We've got sides A and B, which are known as your legs. And then side C is known as your hypotenuse. Nothing new, hypotenuse. Okay, the Pythagorean theorem is used to find the missing side on a right triangle, only right. And the formula is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We can also know it as the reverse, which is c squared is equal to a squared plus b squared. And that's going to come up when we talk about the converse of it. So this is basically saying, are the following right triangles? So I will do one example. So we're going to start with our two smaller sides, and you can name them A, B. Doesn't matter which one is which, but C always has to be your third side. So I'm going to take my third side, square it, and then compare it to the other two squared. And that is the setup. So 17 squared, I'm going to type it in my calculator. I get 289. And does that equal 8 squared? 16 plus 15 squared, which is 225. It does. I added it straight in my calculator and I got that. So yes, that works out. That is one way to do it. Well, the only way to do it. You also want to make sure that the two smaller sides add to be greater than the third side. And that's something that we talked about a while ago. Finding the missing side. Nothing new here, Pythagorean theorem. So you're going to start, and I always go from the right angle and I label that as my C, and then whichever one I feel like calling A and B, I call A and B. The two legs don't really matter which one goes first. And then plug it in like so. 64 plus 49 equals C squared. Add those two together. You want to make sure you square them first before you add them together. You don't want to do 8 plus 7, which would get you 15 and square it. That does not equal the same thing. And then square root. I'm checking how it wants me to write it. It wants me to write it to the nearest tenth. That's 1 decimal. So in my calculator, square root 113, I get 10.63. So that's going to be 10.6. You would do the same thing for number 6. One of these is a little bit different. So like, let's look at this one. We have, for number 7, we have C here. And then again, A and B don't really matter. Setting it up, 3 squared plus B is x. X squared equals 11 squared. 3 squared is 9 plus x squared equals 11 squared is 121. Do 121 minus 9. I get 112. So it's going to be really close to the last one, because last one was 113. Last example one. And it wants me to do the same thing, round to the nearest tenth. So I get 10.58. So that 5, 8, the 8 rounds it up to 10.6 again. Not all of them are going to be 10.6. These ones are asking you to write, draw a picture before setting it up. So let's go ahead. Double checking, making sure that we're just doing this. Okay, find the length of, I want to do this one. A 20-foot ladder is leaning up against a wall. I can guarantee you that you're going to get a question like this in the future. So here's my wall and here's my ladder. My ladder is 20 foot, so I'm going to put it 20 right there. If the base of the ladder is 8 feet from the wall, so that's the base is the bottom part, 8 feet from the wall, like so, like that. How high up on the wall will it reach? That's this part right here. So again, labeling, going across from my right angle. That one is my C, X is A, 8 is B. Those guys can be interchangeable, and you would just set it up the same way. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. 8 times 8, 64. 20 times 20 is 400. And then you just go through and solve. Oh, and it does want you to draw a picture because it does help. I'm going to minus 400 by 64. I get 336. That's a really nice number. Square root. Does it tell me how it would like me to write it? Does not. I'm going to round it to the nearest tenth then. So x is equal to, I get 18.330. So that's 18.3 feet. Okay. And that is it. That's my little notes. I hope that helps. Hi.